before we get started, please, folks, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit the hate button, share this video, leave a comment in the remarks section, even if it ain't no more than go fuck yourself. Been hearing the word simp bouncing around these manosphere and red pill and pink pill spaces a lot, and to be totally honest with you, up until maybe 60 days ago, I never even heard the word simp before in my life. I heard the word simple, you know, and I understand that simp and simple pretty much means the same thing. You know, you're a sucker in some way or a fool in some way, and you know, you try too hard. A simp is someone who will allow themselves to be friend zoned by a woman. And yes, if you are the type of person that is friend zoned, I will, you know, call you a simp. But for real, I would call you a damn fool. But lately, when I've been on these YouTube airways, checking out some of the broadcasts, I've been hearing a bastardized version of the word simp. I don't even think that it even applies in a lot of these cases where I've been hearing people refer to other men as simps. Most recently, within the past 96 hours, my good friend George Macon appeared on the O'Shea Duke Jackson show, and basically he was speaking up for men like Russell Wilson, who you know, who marry women with children. And even though again, when I was a young man, I didn't date women with children, and I felt much like a lot of these red pill manosphere alpha male type of guys felt, I would not date a woman with a child, but I wouldn't make fun of a person if they decided to be with someone who had a child. You know, that's their business. I never had enough energy to care about what somebody else was doing because I always had my own shit to do. So with that said, right, when I think about some of the people who are being called simps, Russell Wilson for getting on TV and confessing his love for his wife, whom he's married to, people were calling Michael B. Jordan a simp because he started dating Steve Harvey's stepdaughter. And you know what a lot of these guys aren't getting, man, you know, we all grown folks, ain't nobody virgins out here. You understand what I'm saying? We all got some kind of past. But I said all that to say this, right? After considering some of the things that some of the guys were being called simps for, I have to realize that I'm a simp. You know, as a matter of fact, I've been called simp a lot in some of my comments by some of the beliefs that I espouse. But I want to take it one step farther. From here on out, I want to nominate myself King of the Simps. And the reason why I'm the King of the Simps is because, first and foremost, I believe that women are to be loved, cherished, protected, and respected. And I know if I believe that women should be loved, cherished, protected, and respected, I know that makes me a simp. Only a simp would think that a woman should be loved, cherished, and respected. Another thing that I believe wholeheartedly, I believe that women and children can make mistakes, but men can't. And since I believe that women and children can make mistakes and men can't, once again, that's a simp move. Only a simp would think something like that. And by me being the king of the simps, you know, that's what I believe. I've been married twice. And my first wife was sickly. She had lupus and kidney failure. And of course, because my wife was sickly, you know, I had to nurture her and look after her all the way up until the time just before she died. And to show you how deep it was, when my wife died, I was the one that baptized her. So you gotta be a simp to do something like that. Only a simp would care for his wife and honor his vows through sickness and in health, to death till we part. So to do something like that, you definitely gotta be a simp. And when I finally decided to get married again, my second wife, she had 2 sons, and we know that only simps marry women who has kids. Now again, never mind the fact that my second wife, both of her sons were grown when I met her, and they weren't babies. In fact, they weren't even living at the house. But since she had 2 sons, and even though they was grown, that's a simp move. To profess your love for a woman, particularly your wife, publicly, I believe that's a pretty cool thing to do. And because I believe it's a pretty cool thing to do, once again, that makes me a simp. So again, I put my hat in the ring for being the king of the simps, because I think it's a pretty cool thing to do for a man to publicly, confess his love for a woman. I like being chivalrous. I like opening doors for women. I like pulling out a woman's chair. I like buying women flowers and reciting poetry to women. So once again, those are the classic traits of being a simp. So again, I gotta be a simp because I like doing all those things, and I personally, I believe in not holding grudges against women. And because I don't believe in holding grudges against women, I gotta be a simp. Every woman that I ever been fairly close to in my life, that we're still on good terms. And the reasons why we're still on good terms is because I don't hold grudges. I believe in conducting myself like a gentleman. I don't take relationships personal. Of course they are personal, but if we fall out, we fall out. It's like we had our season. And surely, if someone can think as rational and mature like that, you got to be a simp. So with that said, folks, Xander J. Hobson here, stand-up comedian, entertainer, director, and producer of boxing documentaries, and last but not least, King of the Simps. Now, before I get out of here, right, I want to part with a story because that's important. The reason why I get on here is to spread my doctrine of manhood. In one of my videos, I talked about not being petty, and if you are with a woman and y'all find yourself at odds with each other and you arguing over community property, I suggested let her have it. Now I said all that to say this, right? Very good friend of mine, him and his wife divorced about 6 or 7 years back, and during this time frame his wife had cheated on him with a guy and pretty much ran off with the guy that she, cheated on her with. Well, this guy was a senior master sergeant, or E8, in the Air Force. And even though he was mad, he and I talked, he's like a younger brother to me. And I pretty much, was his support system when he was going through this horrible experience. But in the end, the moral of this story is his wife was entitled to half of his pension. But she opted on not taking half of his pension. And my buddy, whose wife cheated on him and ran off with the guy she cheated with, he was able to live happily ever after, because at the end of the day, even though she cheated on him and he had every right to be angry and hate her and all of that, he took the moral high ground. And because he took the moral high ground, he was able to walk out of that relationship and save his pension. Now, had he not conducted himself like a gentleman until he was able to ease his head out of the lion's mouth during this time when he was going through this divorce, well, now she might have said, I'm gonna take half of that pension. So now, not only would my buddy would have lost his wife to the guy that she ran off with, he would have also lost half his pension. So with that said, folks, I don't think I need to say anymore. I'm a simp, and you know, any other man that feels like I feel about women, we're all simps. But me, Sander J. Hobson, I am the king of the simps. Bam!